Okay, let's dive right into this. For as long as we've had stories about war. I mean, from ancient poems about heroes all the way to modern blockbuster movies, we are just fascinated with conflict. It's undeniable. But as technology has rocketed forward, the way we experience these stories has totally changed. And that, right there, raises some brand new and really complex ethical questions.
So it really starts with this question, doesn't it? Why do we love these stories so much? And this isn't some new trend. Our fascination with heroism, with sacrifice, with strategy, it's all deeply woven into our history, stretching all the way back to the very first stories ever told.
And this timeline just lays it all out perfectly. We started way back with epic poems like Homer's Iliad, where we were just passively listening to these incredible tales of gods and warriors. Then, jump forward, the printing press shows up, and suddenly we have memoirs from soldiers, books on strategy. Then, of course, came cinema. Films like All Quiet on the Western Front gave us this gut-punching, visual window into the horrors of the battlefield. And that brings us to today, and, well, the biggest leap of all, interactive digital media, video games.
Right, so that evolution leads us straight to the first huge shift we have to get our heads around, this move from just being a spectator to actually becoming a player.
This right here breaks down that difference so well. When you're watching a movie, you're on the couch, you're a passive observer. The story is what it is. But in a game, whoa, you are an active participant. You have agency. Your decisions actually shape what happens. And that just collapses the emotional distance, creating this powerful sense of immersion. That feeling of agency, that is the real game changer.
And what this really means is we're not just watching the story unfold anymore. We are inside of it. We're making choices. We're experiencing these simulated consequences firsthand. And this huge shift from just watching to actually doing has some pretty profound effects on our minds.
So what is actually happening in our brains when we're not just watching, but we're actively taking part in a virtual war? Yeah, let's get into the psychology of it all.
So a huge concept here is something called presence theory. You know those crazy realistic graphics and the super immersive sound design in modern games? Well, they're not just for show. They're specifically designed to create this powerful psychological feeling of being there, which makes the whole experience feel way more real and emotionally impactful.
And make no mistake, games are powerful teachers. It's this psychological loop, right? Social cognitive theory basically says we learn by watching and then doing. Then operant conditioning comes in and rewards us. You get points, praise, that satisfying ding for doing it well. Over time, this can lead to what's called moral disengagement, where the context of the game, the rules, the story, makes it feel okay to do things we'd never, ever do in real life. It's how these virtual habits get built, one click at a time.
And this leads us to one of the biggest, most debated concerns in this whole field, the desensitization hypothesis. The core idea is pretty simple. If we're constantly exposed to violence as something that's fun, that's rewarding in a game, we might start to become numb or desensitized to how serious violence actually is in the real world.
And here it is. This is the million-dollar question, isn't it? The research here is incredibly complicated. Seriously, the debate is not about a simple yes or no. It's about nuance. Is it a real lack of empathy, or is it more like we just get used to seeing violent images? And does it affect everyone the same way? The science is far, far from settled, which makes it even more important for us to think critically for ourselves.
Okay, so with all this complexity, how are we even supposed to think through these things for ourselves? Well, this next section is basically a practical toolkit. 3 simple but really powerful questions to help us analyze the war entertainment we're all consuming.
This is a fantastic framework, and it's pulled from some major philosophical traditions. So first, you ask about the rule. Is portraying war this way just wrong in and of itself, no matter what happens? Second, you look at the outcome. Do the potential harms, like maybe feeling a bit numb, outweigh the benefits, like having fun or relieving stress? And finally, and this is a big one, the character. What kind of person does this game or movie want me to become? More empathetic, or maybe a little more callous?
And look, the goal of this toolkit isn't to find one right answer that works for everybody. It's about shifting our own mindset. It's about moving from just blindly consuming this stuff to actively, thoughtfully engaging with the messages it's sending and, this is crucial, how it's affecting us personally.
All right, in our final section, let's talk about our role in all of this. Because the line between the game and the real world, well, it's getting blurrier than ever before.
Yeah, this isn't science fiction anymore. The gamification of war is a real thing.
Real-world militaries are using these highly realistic simulations and game-like interfaces for everything, from training drone pilots to recruiting new soldiers. So when the tools of war start looking exactly like our entertainment, those lines get very, very blurry indeed.
So whose job is it to navigate this? Well, it definitely starts with the creators. Think about it. There's a huge difference between a game that just throws endless, faceless targets at you and one that actually forces you to see the civilian impact of your actions. It's about designing game mechanics that might make you pause and think before you act, not just rewarding you for speed. That's the kind of thoughtfulness creators can build right into their work.
But that responsibility is shared. It's on us too, the consumers. And it's so important to remember that our choices have real power. We have a responsibility to engage critically, to actually understand how these stories are built, to notice how they might be shaping our own views, and to consciously choose media that challenges us to think.
It's this powerful feedback loop. When we, the audience, actually seek out and support experiences that challenge us, not just thrill us, the market responds. It's not just about what we buy, it's about what we value. In a way, our choices can help shape what gets created next.
Which brings us to our final, lingering question. As technology keeps closing that gap between the simulation and reality, our responsibility to think critically about the entertainment we consume and the impact it has on us and our world has never, ever been more important. So, what is our responsibility? That's something for all of us to think about.